is Vivian. Allied Food Service.
Hi, I'm Vivian, food, hospitality, and corporate artist. I'm so grateful to have invited guest of honor, international local best company, Mr. Nick PG, the managing director of Allied Food Service Equipment, Sabah Sdn Bhd. And we also have invited guests, Mr. Chong, a local consultant who is expert in ESC IAQ as well. Welcome to our guest of honor, Mr. Nick PG and Mr. Chong. Kindly allow me to raise the first question to Mr. Chong. In Chapter 6 mentioned why it is important to have ESC and kitchen equipment consultant to work hand in hand.
Okay, in my previous chapters, why it's important we need to work hand in hand. You see the actual situation in the market that most of the F&B owner, they always overlook or they didn't aware the right procedure. The right procedure is where F&B owner, before they go into the kitchen equipment design, they should engage or appoint Nick to be the kitchen equipment consultant. Nick will be the first person to talk to the F&B owner to gather the information, the type of cooking, the menu, and from Nick will do the planning for the kitchen equipment arrangement and design. Once Nick that side is done, I need to have another second round meeting with Nick to gather the information. Once I have the information, then I have to coordinate with Nick to find out on top the ceiling, is there any others like beams, columns, or any other mechanical or electrical that is blocking that permit me to install my air cleaner. It might install the air cleaner that obstruct Nick equipment that we myself or Nick that side future unable to do service or maintenance, because every equipment you need service and maintenance, right, Nick? Yeah. So that's why we need to coordinate hand in hand to ensure that the bottom of the equipment and my top of my ceiling have to work in one sequence, to ensure that we are able to work hand in hand, that my equipment on the ceiling, the air cleaner, the ducting, that will not obstruct the equipment arrangement, and his bottom arrangement that will not obstruct me to access up for the future service and maintenance. This is the right sequence ways of working on kitchen equipment and our ESC. That's why that between Nick industry and my industry, we have to work hand in hand. We need to work with hand in hand, is we need each other. It's a sequence. We are unable to separate it out. But the actual situation in the market today is most of the local F&B owner, they might be very expert in their cooking, but they might overlook or they do not have the knowledge or experience that the right channel is engage Nick as a kitchen equipment consultant to plan ahead everything first, because that if Nick that want the kitchen did not plan in accordingly or in a proper manner, once in the future they start operating the business, right, actual fact, it will bring up a lot of problem and issue in the future. That is why that in the chapter 6 I mentioned that kitchen equipment consultant and us, we are one line, just like our local Malaysia, that the M&E consultant, they need a mechanical and an electrical consultant to merge one company. So same to our kitchen side. Nick that side is more to the mechanical side, mine is more to the electrical side, to combination. So two systems together, then it's become a perfection. That's the actual practice.
What are your job scope and duties to support Mr. Nick PG, the kitchen equipment consultant, during the process of drafting, proposing, planning, and designing?
Okay, you see, let's say now there's a F&B owner have approached Nick. So normally, let's say the kitchen is empty. Okay, then from the stage one Nick start doing the drafting, then we need to have a meeting to have an understanding, Nick the concept to implant and the planning. What will be the traffic flow in the kitchen, and we also need to have the ideas of design that Nick was intent is about, the flow of the equipment and the traffic flow in the kitchen, and I need to follow his way. I cannot against Nick the requirement of the design, but we need to compromise on either way. I mean either way of on the equipment, the arrangement, including the flow of the equipment and the people move around in the kitchen, and ensure that whatever my design on the air cleaner on top of the ceiling and the bottom of the equipment have to move aligned together. It's a system, it's an engineering design.
Mr. Nick, let us glance back to March 2020 along the period until today. Do you face any obstacle as a kitchen equipment consultant? How do you handle the obstacle?
Okay. Most indeed, definitely we face a lot of problems. It was indeed a tough year in 2020, not just for us but for everyone else in the industry, due to loss of income, and a lot of plans have been either cancelled or put on hold, and many of our customers as well has no choice but to find cheaper alternatives. And during the prolonged MCO as well, it hindered our service. Due to the restrictions, travel restrictions, we could not respond to breakdowns, especially outside of KK or in another state like Sarawak, because in Kuching we do have customers in Kuching, in Bintulu, in Cebu and Miri as well. Not only that, we have customers in Tawau, Sandakan. So during the MCO, the travel restrictions really hindered our service. And of course, there's an unstable global chain supply as well. Right now, to place an order for new equipments, it could take up to like 5 to 6 months to be delivered, due to because certain equipment requires components from other countries. So due to the COVID and all that, so it's difficult for them to get the parts, or it'll take them a longer time to get the parts and all that to build up that equipment for us. So what we are doing right now is we focus on social media, like most people are doing right now. We also engage on online shopping platforms. You can find us in Lazada. We also had a demo on equipments and tools on YouTube, and certain parts is difficult to acquire, so we have to basically engage with our competitors, the other players in the industry, to get parts from them, and what parts they need, we may be able to supply them those parts as well. And for things like breakdowns outside of KK, say in Sarawak or in Tawau or in Sandakan and all that, we have to engage third party because we are not able to travel. So we have to find people who'll be able to do the job. Yeah.
We foresee the market will recover slowly at time. What is the preparation and planning next 5 years?
We've been through this pandemic for the last 21 months, I think, and it has rapidly changed the way we live, the way we work, and the way we learn. This current global crisis is going to continue until when, we don't know. Maybe 5 years, then 10 years, we don't know exactly. So what we're doing right now, we are collaborating with other players in the industry, like Mr. Rice and his company and my company, we collaborate so that when we visit or pay a visit to our customers, we can go in together and provide better service or better opportunities for the customers. And with this pandemic, there's a new norm. Of course, it delays things for us, because now we have to, when we do servicing in shopping malls and all that, we have to apply for permits, so we cannot attend to breakdowns very, very immediate. We cannot attend to it immediately. Sometimes the permit takes like a day, sometimes 2 days. Sometimes if it's the weekend, then it takes 3 days to get a permit. So the response time is delayed. And there's also an emergence of new concepts like ghost kitchen. Ghost kitchen is where they particularly focus on operating a kitchen only. So there are many restaurants in KL in particular have converted their restaurant into just kitchen. So they either give away their dining area, sublet it to other people, and just focus on their kitchen, where they do takeaways, deliveries, and all that. And this saves them a lot of costs, especially utilities and labor. And how do we go into that is that we come up with new designs of those kitchen to facilitate speed and efficiency, and also propose new innovations, new kitchen equipment to reduce their costs and to prepare their food on time. Yeah.
Why is it important for a local developer, F&B owner, architect, mechanical and electrical consultant and hotelier mall to involve kitchen equipment consultant in their primary planning? What are the key conditions for them to take note?
Okay. Commercial kitchen design is often ignored and overlooked by most investors or restaurant operators. It is very important to engage a kitchen consultant, because we do things differently. We plan and design accordingly, and we look into every little details of constructing a kitchen, the flow of the kitchen and all that, and especially the M&E requirements of the kitchen. The key things that you need to look into the kitchen is energy efficiency. The design has direct impact on the energy usage, or reducing the energy usage in the kitchen, because when we design, as best as possible, we align all the cooking range in one line, so that your exhaust hood, you don't require such a huge exhaust hood, or you don't require such a big exhaust fan to extract all the fumes from the kitchen. And ergonomics means we design it in such a way where, like Mr. Rice mentioned earlier, the movement in the kitchen, everything is within range. You don't have to move so much, so that you can work faster, and everything is just in front of you. Yeah. And another thing to consider is the size of the kitchen. Most people pay attention to the size of the dining room, but not the kitchen. But actually, the size of the kitchen is very, very important. If you have a capacity of 300 packs and you have such a small kitchen, how are you able to cope with the demand? Take for example, franchises from the US, from Korea, Japan. They pay a lot of attention on kitchen, providing the right kitchen equipment, the right tools, and everything is calculated, everything is predetermined, and usually these franchises from the US and all that, they have years of experience, years of trial and error. Say, for instance, one of the American franchise that I used to work with, they have like 40 over years of experience in this industry. So they basically has established a very their SOPs throughout the years. So they know what they're talking about, and usually the requirement of the kitchen is very, 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 very detailed. Ventilation of the kitchen is also very, very important, because if the kitchen is too hot, then your refrigeration units, like your chiller, your freezer, the compressors will die on you very fast because there's no ventilation, and also your staff also will die on you because there's no ventilation, because they cannot work in comfort because of the heat coming from the from the fumes of the gas cooking range, from the refrigeration units and all that. Maintenance, planning. I mean, easy access to maintenance is also very important. Things like chillers or freezers. If the compressor's compartment is blocked, there's not enough ventilation, there's not enough return air, hot air going out and cool air going in to cool down the compressors, then your compressor is not going to last long. And if you're not able to access, it's very difficult to access to when there's a breakdown, or you have to practically pull out the equipment from the kitchen to just do a repair, and that's going to stop your operation. And also like cleaning of your hood or your air cleaner and all that. If there's no access, how is it going to be serviced, right? So that's one of those key conditions that needs to be taken into account. And also, last one is hiring the right person is very, very important as well. There's many companies providing this kind of services out there, but we have to hire the right person who's got not just experience, but who's got the right team members who are skilled and have the know-how. Yeah.
Mr. Next PG, please explain to us accordance to the statement of Mr. Chong regarding the importance to have EAC consultant and kitchen equipment consultant. Why do we need to work hand in hand?
Okay, it is crucial, very important for us to work hand in hand, because I must be able to provide accurate information to him regarding the equipments and all that, for him to plan and design the EAC. Like for instance, I need to, when we design the kitchen layout, we will, one of the information that we give out to contractors or consultants like Mr. Rice is the gas output of every equipment that is gas operated. Because then he will be able to calculate how much of size of the EAC that he needs to propose to the investors. And it's very important for us to work hand in hand also, because we need to discuss and plan on the installation sequence, installation process. If not, then there'll be errors and there'll be delays if we don't work in hand in hand.
Mr. Nick PG, please elaborate more in details which Mr. Chong mentioned in previous episode to the importance of every kitchen must have been constructed from top to bottom.
Okay. With every requirement taken into account, there are so many elements involved, which leads to more potential for things to go wrong. So, careful planning and prepping is very important so that it can be completed within a time frame. So, if we don't work in hand, then and we don't plan the installation process and all that, there'll be a lot of delays, and when there is a delay, there's unnecessary costs. For example, exhaust ducting completed first before we can move in our equipment. If we move in our equipment before his ducting is completed, then chances are the equipment that I've moved in may be damaged or scratched, and that will not be, the investor will not be too happy about it. So yeah, the sequence, how we do installation is very, very important.
Please explain to us the difference between local kitchen equipment supplier versus kitchen equipment consultant.
Okay. Like I mentioned earlier, there's a lot of suppliers out there. There's a lot of kitchen suppliers out there, but not kitchen consultants. Like Allied Food Service, we are a comprehensive one-stop solution provider. We are supplier and consultant to many reputable international brands and also local. And we've been appointed as their permanent kitchen consultant and supplier for many, many years right now. Reason being is because we have a team of experienced, skilled, with specific expertise in this industry. We have the latest innovative cooking technology as well. Like myself, I've been in the industry, in the F&B industry for well over 30 years. So before I did this kitchen equipment, I was setting up restaurants all over Southeast Asia, Thailand, Indonesia, and Singapore. And I have a lot of experience in setting up different concepts, different types of restaurants. To name a few, American, Italian, Irish, Japanese, Korean, and also local restaurants. So with my experience in this industry, I'll be able to, I have a very familiar understanding of the workflow of the kitchen, and we are able to blend various kitchen design principles and kitchen components effectively. Yeah.
Mr. Chong, please explain and provide us how and in which way to obtain information that enable to process the design and propose your kitchen ESC.
Okay, put it this way. I think before I answer you the question that you asked me, I maybe need to explain a little bit more before I give you the actual answer. Now, just like recently myself and with my teams of Audrey, we actually recently we have paid a courtesy visit with the local architect that they are proposing a 7-story hotel where the architect has given us the information, okay, and request me to do the kitchen equipment. And I spoke to the architect. I said I might be only good on the ASC, but I said I need to let this drawing hand over to Nick to plan for the kitchen equipment before I can able to recommend the numbers of air cleaner and then the replacement air. Now, why I need to explain this situation to you is because that most of the local F&B owner or the M&E or the architect, sometimes they might overlook the actual flow to plan the things. So the end up the client may pay a lot of necessary amount of investment and the time wastage. Okay, this is the thing before I go into the actual question. Now, number 2 is, besides we work with Nick, we not only concerned about the number of unit of air cleaner, we also need to work with Nick the triangle. What do you mean the triangle? The triangle is the thing accessed from the fridge to the preparation to the chef. So it's a triangle. So in every kitchen, the triangle have to move in different way. So once the triangle principle Nick that part have done, then my part can go in. As one more additional information for you, that last week, where one of the restaurant invite me to his kitchen, I was quite shocked in the kitchen. Why? Because the exhaust fan is placed on the 2nd floor outside of the building, and he asked me to solve his problem. I said, how I'm going to solve your problem if the fan is placed on the 2nd floor halfway between the 3rd floor and the 1st floor? So it's when I asked them, then I discover they even did not get a proper channel of design. They get involved was the kitchen equipment supplier, where the kitchen equipment supplier have no idea what they are doing about. So this is the things that the F&B owner have been very clear what they are doing. Now, answer back the question that you're asking me. Now, during the process, the design and proposal, we need to cooperate with Nick the information that his ideas, that how he want the kitchen flow to be. Then I'm able to move in my air cleaner. Is it supposed to be inside the kitchen or outside of the kitchen? Vivian, you'll be quite surprised that why should I answer you that the air cleaner number of unit inside the kitchen or outside of the kitchen? Now you see, in a normal practice, after the kitchen exhaust hood mean channel to the duct, normally the air cleaner is right after the hood. But we have to concern one thing that I need to ask Nick. Okay, if I plan my air cleaner inside the kitchen, will I obstruct the kitchen staff, the traffic flow during the peak hour or unpeak hour to do the service? I need to ask him. If he says that, okay, if you place the air cleaner inside the kitchen, they will not obstruct the traffic flow in the kitchen, then I place the air cleaner inside the kitchen. But Nick said, no, I'm not going to permit you allowed to place the air cleaner inside the kitchen because of the size of the kitchen, as well the floor of the kitchen that will obstruct the flow during the unpeak and peak hours on the floor. Then by no choice, I need to shift the air cleaner out of the kitchen. I have to do that. As well, even during my process to calculate the numbers of air cleaner need to be applied into the kitchen, I also need to consider and look into the replacement air. By the traditional replacement air is how much I suck up the kitchen in the hood by the CFM. I need to replace how many percent of the replacement air into the kitchen. That is a traditional way. But the disadvantage that if I replace the air outside directly into the kitchen, actually I am pulling the building outside all the dust and particles into the kitchen. This is what is normal practice for the past so many years. So end up the food preparation in the kitchen, they may record it as the food contamination and the food pollution. That is not hygiene and is not right. So I need to ask Nick, inside your kitchen equipment, beside my air cleaner, what will you expected the equipment generate the temperature inside the kitchen? So then I will come with a system called the evaporative air cooler. It means that I filter off the dust, I treat the air, I reduce the temperature, discharge into the kitchen, so that able the kitchen to step down, reduce the temperature, what the existing temperature in the kitchen will pull out, extract out through the kitchen exhaust hood. It means that in 1 hour I replace the air by 4 times, 6 times, 8 times or 12 times or even more to maintain, to cool down the kitchen temperature as well the kitchen equipment. So the numbers of air cleaner and the replacement air, we have to work hand in hand to understand each other need to make the kitchen work. And furthermore, in the kitchen that most F&B owner, they always forgotten, like what Nick said, they only concern the dining investment, but they always forgotten that the important part, kitchen equipment setup always is the 2/3 cost of the investment. If the owner always forgotten, oh, I would like to place a lot of money on the dining, end up they have run of budget. The actual equipment is 2/3 of the investment on the F&B. Number of air cleaner is depend on the size of Nick. He have proposed the length of the hood, the depth, and the number of hood, mean the main hood and the sub hood, how many total hood inside. Or Nick would prefer that this air cleaner, every hood one individual air cleaner or combined air cleaner. There is an advantage and disadvantage. If you say that, Nick say that the owner have the budget, every size of the hood, one individual air cleaner, then he will reduce long term on the maintenance, but initial cost is high. But he said that Nick say that owner have decided to combine all the air cleaner in one main point. So the initial cost will be low, but the long term operation maintenance cost will be high. So it's either way. We have to educate and provide the information to the client. You prefer your initial cost is low, but your long-term operation cost is high. Or your initial cost is high, but your long-term operation maintenance cost is low. It's either way. To be very frank to you, that need information provided to us is very important. And the most important that I always enhance, that I always emphasize that besides looking at the drawing, it's important two of us, both professional team. First thing is to go to the site for a courtesy visit, because whatever we see in the drawing, right, actually it might not reflect in the actual site. Maybe the floor, the ceiling, and the four wall, there are a lot of things that we don't expect. It's not in the drawing, so we prefer that go to the site, see it by our own eyes, then the things can combine together to come with we use a word of comprehensive, workable kitchen equipment.
Mr. Nick, please explain why is it important to reduce and control kitchen temperature and noise level?
Okay, reduce kitchen temperature. It's very important because one thing, you need to create a cool environment in prevention of bacterial growth and overall quality of food, and also a comfortable working environment for the staff. That's very important to make. you want to be smiling to the bank, you must make your staff happy as well, smiling as well. So you need to provide a comfortable working environment for them. Yeah, in order to do that, you need to provide proper ventilation for your refrigeration units, like I mentioned earlier. You need to have a balance of air in your kitchen to prevent cold air in the dining room from escaping through your kitchen via the hood, the exhaust hood, because it extracts all the fumes and the air in your kitchen. And it's a very common practice in what I see in Sabah. A lot of people who install kitchen hood, they have kitchen hood, but they do not have replacement air, return air. There's no fresh air. So yeah, so whatever is extracted by the hood is also extracting your air conditioning from your dining room area as well. So if you're having problems with your air conditioning in your dining area, then your customers won't be comfortable. You won't be dining in comfort as well. For noise level, it's important to reduce noise level so that your staff they can focus on their duties. They can work without. They have an uninterrupted communication flow in the kitchen, and also a peaceful dining experience for your customers, so that they don't hear all this banging or shouting in the kitchen and all that. Yep.
The final question, Mr. Nick. Since Mr. Chong provide evaporative air cooler system that help to cool down the kitchen environment, what sort of benefit do you think the system able to provide? Mr. Nick, please extend your valuable advice to viewer and public today's topic.
Well, how EC works, Mr. Rice is the expert in that.
Thank you. Thank you.
And he has explained thoroughly earlier on with regards to EAC, how it works and what's the benefit of having EAC. What I know is that EAC will be able to provide efficient energy in your kitchen. Meaning you're paying less on your utility bills, because EAC, evaporative air cooler system, runs on water. It doesn't run on chemical refrigerants, and yeah. And my advice is for those people who intend to invest or to be part of this industry, F&B industry, it's not just about having the money, opening a restaurant, and hiring a chef to do the menu and all that. It's not just that. It involves a lot of things. Some people think that today I dream of opening a restaurant. Tomorrow I plan, or within 1 month, 2 months, my restaurant will open. But that's not the case. The reality is, if you want to do it properly, the consultant itself will take about 5 to 6 weeks, because to design a proper restaurant with every single details on the the design, the layout, the M&E requirements and all that, it takes weeks of going back and forth, redoing the design, amending the designs. It can happen like 5 times if you're lucky, or it could take up to like 20 revisions. Then only you'll be satisfied with the design. So when you plan to open a restaurant, you have to think way ahead. I mean, Don't think opening a restaurant, oh, I want to open a restaurant next month. No. The process is at least 90 days before you open a restaurant. You have to plan. You need 3 months of planning, which is that will provide you enough time to plan it properly and make your investment worth. Yeah. Or else, if you don't do that, you may end up forking out more money because there are a lot of details that is being left out. Yeah, so that's why it's very important to engage consultant professionals like us even before you think of opening a restaurant, to get advice from us. Know exactly how long it'll take to open a restaurant. It's not in 1 month you can open a restaurant. No, that's not it. The reality is not that. And getting the right equipment also is very, very important. When you open a restaurant, a full-fledged restaurant, 90% of your business comes from food. Maybe 10% is from a beverage. 90% food comes from where? It comes from your kitchen, not from your bar, not from your backyard or what. It's from your kitchen. So if you expect to gain 90% of the sales, you must ensure that your kitchen is able to deliver that 90%. If you invest on inferior quality equipments, you may always have breakdowns. And if you most people buy direct from China, who's going to service for you? Who's going to do your repair? Most kitchen equipment supplier will not even dare to touch your equipment because you didn't buy it from them. The warranty is not from them. You don't even get a warranty because you buy it direct from another country. They just sell you the cheapest and there, you do whatever you want to do with it. Once it's broken, you just throw it away and buy a new one, cheap one. But in that process, your flow of your operation of your kitchen, your restaurant is already affected. Yeah, and that's why it's very, very important to provide the right equipment for your staff. If you expect them to cook like a chef, to the quality, the appearance of the food to be consistent, provide them the best quality equipment. And also I think we have a social responsibility in investing in electrostatic air cleaner and evaporative air cooler as well, because everyone is heard or talking about global warming and all that, because in the kitchen most of your equipment runs on gas. There's a lot of fumes, there's a lot of carbon which is discharged to the air that we breathe. So if we as an investor, restaurant operator, are not responsible enough to ensure that all those fumes that we discharge to the air outside of the restaurant, then sooner or later, we are contributing to global warming. We are affecting the ozone layer. Yeah. So I think everyone should think about for the future of our children. Yeah. That's it. Thank you very much.
Before we end this session, I would like to open the floor. Is there any comment, Mr. Ashram?
Okay, I would like to share a little bit more before we closing on this end of this dialogue. Now I split into two parts that I should like to let the F&B owner as well on the shopping mall, the management cooperation, to look into these two important parts. Now let me touch on the F&B owner. You see, like what Nick has said just now, when you come to a kitchen planning, it's not today I meet you, the proposal will come out tomorrow. There is no such thing. So that important as a F&B owner, you must able to engage the right company that is not the kitchen equipment supplier. You need to engage as a kitchen equipment consultant. And once the owner have engaged the wrong company on the kitchen setup, once you start run your business, right, you're unable to bear the cost to shut down the kitchen for 3 days or 5 days to do the troubleshooting, the initial planning. Because when the moment they shut down the kitchen, 3 days or 5 days, every moment, every second is money. Because the actual income, like Nick said, is from the kitchen. You not afford to close down. Or maybe, okay, today I shut down 3 days. After you operate 2 or 3 days, another issue came out. So it's rather that as an owner, don't look at, wow, this kitchen equipment consultant plus the EAC of us, well, the consultant fee might be very expensive. But how about if we put in a normal situation, you go and see a doctor, you see a lawyer, either they give you solution or not, you still need to pay the lawyer fee. Doctor, there's a doctor fees that you need to charge. So it's sent to us as well. You're not afford to shut down your kitchen once you start operating. You only can do to solve your problem and do the planning is through the proper channel from day one. That is the most important to a kitchen planning. That is the part one that I'd like to provide the information to the F&B owner. Now, move to the management cooperation. Now, this morning I have received a message from a management cooperation. The problem that I face in their building is where one of the owner have discharged the oil and the smell directly out of the building. The consequences what the management face if they do not have their expert teams inside the management in the shopping mall, the oil and the smell, when they discharge out of the building, right, the oil and the smell will go to the building surrounding that affect those nearby operator. Or maybe now, because nowadays in Malaysia, more they have a combination of mixed development like resident, hotel. If you discharge out of the building like that, right, end of the day, all those on top resident and the hoteler, the gun are pointing to the management corporation. Why you permit him without any air cleaner to treat the oil, treat the smell? Why you permit him to directly discharge out? Because once you approve that, they use this system that is not what today's requirement is. The management had no way to answer the question posed by all these resident hoteler, and including those maybe nearby was a boutique shop, branded one. They will give the bill to the management. Since you approve, you solve the problem. Because once you as a management, you approve that the F&B operator to run this way, once they start the business, they're not going to shut down. So the management corporation have to be very clear-minded. In your every mall, do you have a specific department, engineering, on the F&B to handle the heat, the oil and the smell? If you don't, then the management have to be very careful. You don't just simply approve everything. You need to be very understanding that as a management corporation, you must have engaged the right between like Nick and us to support the mall on the management. What is the right channel, the right procedure to plan in the kitchen in their mall? Because I can assure you, in our local Sabah here, that I handle for so many years, hardly there might be only one management in a mall that have a specific engineering department to handle on the kitchen exhaust. But even they do have, but there are still lack of guideline, knowledge, experience, and technical way to inform and give a SOP to the operator. When you come into my mall, this is my SOP, this is my compliance. this is my M&E for the kitchen. You have to follow this way. You comply, you submit me the drawing. Just like I give you one more information, Vivian, like in KL. Most of the mall, you have not just need to submit your interior design to the management corporation. Not just your M&E, including your full detail on your kitchen equipment, plus the air cleaner. And they have a specific engineer really know in and out. He will give you all the comment. You don't comply, sorry. You comply my requirement. Then you proceed to start your renovation. Even you completed in KL South the mall, their in-house engineer will personally go and inspect the kitchen. Do you comply to my requirement? Your equipment comply or not? If you comply, then I permit you to run the business. So this is the last part. Nick, you have anything you want to add?
Yeah. Well, following up on what you said, I just have this to say. Prevention is better than cure.
Yeah, good idea. Good idea.
That's it.
This is the end of our session. Please do follow us on Facebook for more updates.